Okay, welcome to Economics 3.2. We're going to talk about shifts in demand. So in 3.1, we talked about how price and quantity demanded are related, and that when we have a change in price, then that can change quantity demanded. Well, now we're going to talk about things that can affect demand other than price. The first thing that we have to talk about is this Latin term, ceteris paribus. This remains, all other things remain constant. When we're dealing with a demand curve, we're just dealing with two variables, price and quantity demanded. We're going to assume everything else is the exact same. We can't say, oh, well, Miss Edwards, what if there's a tornado or a hurricane or COVID? Or we're going to assume everything else remains constant, because if we play the what if game, it's just going to get really, really crazy. But sometimes you do have some things that really affect demand that have nothing to do with price. And we call those non-price determinants. And it's very, very simple, because it's anything other than price that affects overall demand. COVID has affected demand. That's a non-price determinant. Like diets will affect, like right now everybody's keto, so keto products are high in demand, things like that. Anything that's not price. Now, normal and inferior goods. I'm getting ready to tell you the economic term for these. This is going to be completely different than financial terms. Okay, it's completely different than Dave Ramsey or what I would tell you financially planning. A normal good is going to be any good that a consumer is going to purchase more of when their income increases. So pretend you just want $1 billion. Are you going to go buy a used car or a new car? You're going to go buy a new car. You're not going to worry with the trouble of finding a used one that's what you want. So a new car is a normal good, and a used car would be inferior, because inferior is you're going to purchase less of that when your income increases. And if I have $1 billion, do I really need to be saving by buying a used car versus a new car? Not really. So that's how I tend to look at inferior goods versus normal goods. If I was a billionaire, would I buy it? If I was a billionaire, would I shop the sale rack? If I was a billionaire, would I be shopping at Goodwill? No, they're all inferior goods. However, from a financial side, a used car is much better than a new car, because you drive it off the lot and you lose a lot of money. You can go to Goodwill and get a brand new clothes with the tag still on it, and it's a great bargain. Again, that's a financial side. We're talking economic. Demographics, these are population characteristics with respect to age, race, and gender. Complements, I've got this wrong here. I need to fix it. Complements are going to be two goods that go together. They complement each other. If you go to a restaurant and you order, if you're going to be serving fries, you're going to have ketchup on hand, because ketchup and French fries are complements. If you're selling burgers, you're going to have French fries or potato chips, because everybody expects a side with a burger. They don't expect just a burger. Those are complements. They're completely different items, but they go together. Now, some of you were probably sitting here saying, I don't use ketchup on my French fries. I like honey mustard or barbecue sauce or Zaxby's sauce. There's all kinds of crazy things. But that's not the norm. We wouldn't consider those complements to French fries. We would consider those substitutes for ketchup. You would rather use barbecue sauce than ketchup with your fries. You would rather, somebody said ice cream. They dip their French fries in a Frosty. Never heard of it. So those would be substitutes for ketchup, because they don't normally go together. If I'm a restaurant and I'm selling French fries, I'm not going to think to have ice cream on hand to dip my French fries in. Take a moment, pause, or at the end, watch this YouTube video. It's really good about talking about those non-price determinants and how it shifts a curve, or when we just move along the curve. There are things that can change demand. If you and your friends are going to all meet out tonight and have hamburgers, and all of a sudden the bottom falls out and it's raining hard, it's thunder, and it's just raining cats and dogs, you're probably going to text each other and say, look, let's not go tonight. It's not worth getting out in the rain. I don't want to get wet. The streets may be flooded. Let's just do a different night. So all of a sudden, your demand for a hamburger at any price has dropped. You're not going. But now your demand for delivery, say pizza delivery, has risen because you would rather the driver brave the weather than yourself. One thing that can change demand is advertising. Here you've got advertisement for cell phones. I know advertisements is a huge industry because it can change demand. You might be sitting there and you're not hungry and you see a Chili's commercial and all of a sudden you want to go to Chili's. All that can affect demand. Here are examples of demand curves where we've had this non-price determinant create a shift in demand. And as you'll watch in the video, if there's a change in quantity demanded, we move along the original curve. But when there's an overall change in demand for the product, it causes a shift. If demand goes down, we have a decrease. Oops, sorry about that. If we have a decrease, that is going to be a shift inward towards the origin. If we have an increase in demand, it's going to be a shift outward or away from the origin. And again, if demand hasn't changed, if nothing has caused it to shift, if I want to change from a price level of $2 to $3, that's just movement along this curve. Quantity demanded is going to go from 4 units now to 3 if I raise the price. Interesting enough, at $2, I'm making revenue of $8. At $3, I'm now making revenue of $9. Probably going to be more profitable at $3. However, let's use dine-in restaurants as our example. Right now with COVID, we have a decrease in demand to eating in a restaurant. Several reasons. Limited menu. There's a break in the supply chain. They don't necessarily have everything. Limited seating. People fearful to get out and get sick. Lots of things. And that has decreased the demand for eating in a restaurant. So that would be something that would shift the curve inward towards the origin. Now, an increase in demand could be the same scenario. We have COVID. That has increased the demand for delivery of food, and not just pizza and the normal things we had delivery. Delivery from restaurants, Grubhub, Uber Eats, all those places, their demand has just skyrocketed because before COVID, this was the original demand. Now people want to stay safe in their home but want that restaurant food. It has increased the demand for the take home. That would be on this side. Now, these non-price determinants of demand will cause a shift. And the rule of thumb is, ask yourself, is it a change in price? If the answer is yes, the graph doesn't change. You just move along the curve. If you say, is it a change in price? And the answer is no, it's something else, anything else, it's going to be a shift. It's a non-price determinant. There are several things. COVID's one of them. If there's a hurricane, that can create demand for water, bread, milk, things like that. Change in income. If I won the lottery, yeah, that would totally shift demand for me. Change in expectations. A lot of people want to buy the new iPhone or the new Samsung because the expectations of the new gadgets on it. Change in demographics. If you all of a sudden have a lot of people having babies, you might have a greater demand for diapers in your area. Or if you don't have a lot of new families, then you might not have as big of a demand. It could shift it down when all the kids grow up. Changes in population size. Nashville is really growing. That's increasing demand in Nashville for houses, for all kinds of things. Consumer tastes. And advertising. Advertising is totally 100% designed to increase our demand, to make us want something and go purchase it. But consumer tastes also affect things. What was it, 10 years ago? It was, you had the fad diet was fat-free, so everybody demanded fat-free products. Then it was low-fat. or sorry, that is low fat. Then it was low carb, so everybody was going for the low carb stuff. Now it's keto. Those are changes in consumer taste. Prices of related goods, this can be a non-price determinant. To me, this is one of the reasons why I buy used cars, is the price of the used car versus brand new. It's such a savings, it's not worth me buying the new car. And again, here, used cars. I'm a huge fan of purchasing used cars. They're great. However, if I was a billionaire, I would just go straight to the dealer and get one brand new that didn't have any dings on it. Nobody's trashed it or anything. But I'm not worried about money. Getting a used car is a very, very wise investment. It saves you a lot of money. Sales tax holidays. These are other non-price determinants of demand, because on those weekends, people go and purchase things. I know I actually put off, if I need to buy a computer, I will put off the purchase until it's sales tax weekend, because when you have something that expensive, I will save a lot of money in taxes. So that will increase demand on those weekends, and they have long lines in the computer aisles for that. People will put off buying clothes, school clothes, so that they can get it on sales tax holidays. Now, in the gray states, they don't have a sales tax holiday, so demand won't be affected in those states. And in Alaska, Oregon, and Montana, interesting, they have zero sales tax. Zero. So it wouldn't be affected there either. They never have a sales tax. Another non-price determinant would be changes in population. This infographic here shows that there's a growing influence of Hispanic American population. It's projected to reach almost 30% of the U.S. population by 2050. And so that's going to bring with it a lot of cultural aspects, demand for certain Hispanic influence products, like even food. I mean, we all love Mexican food. Oh, yes. But that's going to, for the spices and all the things to create it that we might not normally have. When there's a bigger population demanding it, people bring those products in. Advertising is another thing that will affect demand. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a commercial went, oh, I'm hungry, let's go there. Or, ooh, I like that, I want that. Facebook has the ads. And sometimes that makes you want it. Advertiser spend, if you look in 2012, $4.7 billion on social media for advertising. They're hoping to increase your demand. And that is the end of 4.2, and I'll see you for 4.3.